All right, we'll get started in just a minute here. Gonna give people a couple of minutes just to get on last second before we get going. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you, everybody, for joining our live webinar. I'm Brennan Flores, one of the co-founders here at Passport Sports, and I just wanted to thank you for being here, let you know kind of how we're going to run through this, and there's definitely going to be time for a Q&A. So if you have any questions at all throughout the presentation, you have the opportunity to put that in the chat, and then Trent, my co-host, will stop me if we're not going to cover it and answer the question, or if it's something we're going to get to later, we're going to hold off so that we get through with the presentation. Also, there is a lot of people here today, which is great to see. A lot of people wanting to get down to the Dominican with their players and families, so that's awesome. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and get right to it. All right, so for tonight's agenda, this will last about 20-25 minutes with some time for Q&A at the end. So again, feel free to interact with the chat if you guys have any questions come up. But we're going to talk about why the Dominican Republic, the culture inside the Dominican with baseball, what makes it so different from everywhere else in the world, what a week typically looks like whenever you travel with us. We'll go over a lot of the safety and travel information, what's included in your registration, the process to get registered if you are looking to go either as an individual or with your full team. And then we have time set aside at the end for the live Q&A. So first off, just a little history of Passport Sports, who we are. Again, I'm Brennan. I'm one of the co-founders here, and I've been going to the island since 2019. I got my first chance to go on a missions trip, actually, and I fell in love with the island completely. I got to help build a baseball field, um, practice with all these kids in these academies in San Pedro, actually, and just enjoy the community, the beaches, interact with everybody there, and it was awesome. Ever since that moment that I got back, I knew that someday, somehow, I was going to be able to start this business and share this island and the game of baseball with as many people as possible. And so, for the last just over 6 years, I worked for a large tournament organization here in Colorado, and I had the opportunity to not only work over all the United States, but I started their Dominican product as well before I left. And even though Passport Sports started in March of this year, we haven't taken any teams under our banner. I have started it with my previous company, and then my partner has been taking teams down since 2016. So it is important that you guys know that even though we haven't run a Passport Sports trip, we're definitely not new to getting to the island and running teams and individuals on the island as well. And so, why the Dominican Republic? Quite frankly, there's nowhere else in the world like it when it comes to baseball. It has a population of just about 11 million people, which, to put into perspective, is about the same size as Georgia or North Carolina. And with that population size, they're able to put out more MLB players than anywhere else in the world per capita. Whenever you account for all the minor leagues and the major leagues, they're getting close to 50% of all the players come from the Dominican Republic. So it is just a massive, massive influx of talent, influx of training. Just the way they do things is so different down there. And so being able to show all you families, all these teams, and all these kids how baseball is seen on the island, how it's treated and revered, it's just so fun to be a part of. And baseball is everywhere on the island. I mean, last time I was there, from about 11 a.m. until 8 or 9 p.m., there's just fields everywhere, and they're all filled 100% of the time. And it doesn't matter if it's a pristine MLB quality field or sometimes it's literally a goat patch or just a flat piece of foundation for a building that hasn't been built yet. Kids throw down bases or plates or sometimes pizza boxes, whatever they can find, and they turn it into a baseball field, and they're just starting to play baseball. And so I wanted to actually highlight two separate fields here. These are some of the fields we have access to, and we have a lot more as well, but I couldn't go through everything at once. This field on the left that you'll see is in Biahive, which is really close to La Romana, if you're familiar with the area. And you can kind of see in the background here that this is actually the ocean. It sits right on a bay. It's a beautiful, beautiful scenery with not so nice field, to tell you the truth. And so I actually have it pulled up in Google Maps here as well. So you can see exactly, this is that exact field where that picture was taken. And so it sits right on the bay. It is a beautiful field. You can see, yachts and boats and fishing charters all taken off from here all day, every day. And I love this field. The second field here that I wanted to show, this is called DR Vision Land, which is in San Pedro. And that field is right here. And this is actually the field that I got to see when it was first being built. And we had some practices on it. And it was the first time that I stepped on a baseball field in the Dominican Republic, was DR Vision Land. And that is just north of San Pedro, where we typically stay in Wandolio, for instance. It's probably about a 30-minute drive to get out to this complex, but it is in the middle of nowhere. This road, I'll zoom out a little bit. I mean, it is like there is nothing around it. So it's very, very secluded, very nice property. There's soccer fields as well. There's a little house, and it's just an awesome place to go play. And like I said, there are major league quality fields. There's fields that we play at where MLB actually hosts their trainings and their combines. And so they are really up to major league standards. And there's fields that are a lot worse than this that we're going to put you on as well, because we want to show you guys when you're on the island how these kids play and what they have to go through. So a lot of them, they start at their local leagues and their local academies, and then they get seen and they move up to higher and higher academies, and then they get signed from those top academies that have the MLB quality fields. And so we're not only taking you on a journey to the Dominican Republic, but we're taking you through somewhat of the same journey that these kids go on reaching to Major League Baseball. Something else that is very important to us and all that we do is showcasing the culture, both on the field and off the field. This is a picture in Santo Domingo, which is their capital. I've actually walked this street as well. Funny enough, we were looking for a pizza place while we were there. And so we went all the way to the Dominican to get some pizza. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful old culture. Christopher Columbus actually first settled here, and Santo Domingo is considered the oldest city in the New World. It has the oldest church in the New World and the oldest university in the New World. And a lot of our excursions that we take are actually historic tours of the historic city, and the colonial zone is what it's called. And so whenever you're with us, you're not only getting to see all the different baseball fields, how they play, but we're going to showcase the culture in the island as well. You're going to be able to meet a lot of these Dominican players. It's very common whenever we're playing against one of the academies, especially if the kids speak a little bit of English on the Dominican side, that they just ask if they can switch teams for a couple innings. And so they'll actually play with the American kids and hang out in the dugout and bat with them and, just have this cultural interaction that you don't see anywhere else. And the kids from the Dominican love it because they always want to practice their English and get around the American kids. And the American kids obviously love it because they get to see a little bit more of the culture and experience and just be involved a little bit more. We're going to talk about our community service as well here in a minute, as well as the pro games that we're going to go to. And that depends on the time of year, which type of pro ball we go watch. And so, what's included whenever you travel with Passport Sports? We try to make sure that everything is taken care of for you from the logistics side. Traveling internationally can be a headache. And so our job is to make sure everything runs smooth. We run all the logistics behind the event. So we take care of your all-inclusive lodging, which includes, alcoholic drinks for the parents, water, soda, all the meals, food, snacks, everything that you guys need. We also take care of meals if we are out away from the resort. Let's say we're playing a doubleheader and then go see an MLB academy and it's just a long day. We'll make sure that we have food catered for you guys as well, so you don't have to try to figure out a restaurant that works or be split up. Everything's going to be taken care of. Same thing with the logistics as far as transportation. We have our airport transfers, so we make sure we get all your guys' flight information and stay up to date. Make sure even if flights are delayed, that we can work with our transportation company to get you guys from the airport to the resort. And then when we're on the island as well, all the transportation is taken care of. So we have charter buses, we have vans, we have cars, we have everything that we need in order for you guys to get to these fields all as one group, get back all as one group. And that also plays into the safety as well. It is a very safe place overall, but one of the safety measures we take is always traveling in a group like that. And then our event staff will be with you guys 100% of the time. So I'm on every single trip personally. And then we have some bigger clubs, like we have a club from Canada taking 4 or 5 teams next year. And so we're going to have to split up a little bit, play at different facilities on the same day. So we'll bring in extra staff to make sure that there are staff with you guys 100% of the time. You guys aren't going to go off somewhere just by yourselves. And then we take care of everything from the game standpoint, from the baseball games, lining up the fields, the umpires, baseballs. Depending on the event, we have coaches coming in as well. Like, for instance, our Thanksgiving event, we have a gentleman, Kyle Crustangel, who was the former NWAC Coach of the Year and now works for the Pippins, which is a very high-end collegiate summer league team. He's coming in to coach our Thanksgiving Experience Week. And so we have coaches lined up. We do all of that, the uniforms. I mean, everything is taken care of for you guys. And then on the experience side, we talked a lot about this already, but you'll get your custom jersey if you're a team coming down, or if you're playing with the Passport sports team, like for Thanksgiving or individual trips, we have a full uniform package that is prepared for you guys. We also have the excursions, like I said, with the Colonial Zone, as well as some options to upgrade and do some other tours as well. One of the popular ones that we get asked about a lot is golf. So there's a lot of golf courses in the Dominican, and so we can help you guys arrange all of that around our schedule as well to make sure you guys get some tee times. We do the community service aspect and the MLB Academy visits. And so one of the questions we get a lot is, what does a typical week in the Dominican Republic look like? And the answer is it depends. We run this to where it is completely custom to what you and your team wants to do. However, the core experience pretty much stays the same. So not only do we take care of the logistics, but we have a pretty solid template that no matter what you guys do, it pretty much falls into this kind of template. And so you have this service project and the team practice either the day you get there or the day after, depending on when your flights come in. And then we start playing games against the local academies. And what a typical long day would look like for us is that we would go play against one of the local academies and then go to an MLB game or an MLB tour, excuse me. And so we'll go see like the Dodgers or the Orioles or, I mean, you name it, all 30 teams have an academy on the island. We also have a day off planned on pretty much every one of our trips. One for rest and recuperation, for arm health, to let you guys enjoy the island and the resort a little bit. And also it just gives us a little more flexibility when it comes to weather on the island. So, for instance, if we get weather on day 3 and we're unable to move the games, we'll make that our off day. And then day 5, we're going to be playing again. And that's one of the reasons as well that we don't necessarily do tournaments with Passport Sports. We go down and we set up all these games and our schedule completely by ourselves with all of our partners and local academies, and it just gives us so much more control over the schedule. So with that, we are able to do a lot of research into your team and the players that are coming to make sure we match up against the right competition. one of the biggest misconceptions about the Dominican is every single academy and every single player is MLB quality. And they do have a lot of them, don't get me wrong, but that is not, it's just not the case. So they run the gambit just like anywhere else in the world, from America, kids just starting or getting their feet wet in baseball, all the way up to the kids who are going to be signing, multi-million dollar contracts. And so we do a lot of research to make sure we match you guys up because we don't want you to go down there and lose 6 games, 20-0 or win 6 games 20-0. We want the games to be pretty competitive from start to finish. And doing that as well allows us to control where we play. So it's not unheard of for one part of the island to get weather, but the other part of the island to be just fine. And so we're able to switch some things up, make some adjustments, and make sure that most of the time we're able to move around and play games wherever we need to that day. And then where you'll stay is another big question that we get for obvious reasons. And I've highlighted two of our partner properties here. We do have a handful that we work with, and we're working on adding a few more as well throughout the island. But the two that we have highlighted right here is the Walla Boca Chica. That is really close to the airport. It's about 10 minutes away from the Santo Domingo airport. It's a four-star resort, all inclusive. It's really nice. It is a small resort. There's only one restaurant. And the coolest thing that I like about this resort specifically is that it's known as the local vacation spot. So, pretty much besides our teams, everyone who's there is pretty much from Santo Domingo and the surrounding areas. And so it lets you get even more cultural exposure and just be around the more, people because you're hanging out with the Dominicans every day at the resort. The other one that we go to a lot, these are our two most popular properties, is the Emotions by Hodelpa, and that is in Juan Dolio. And so Juan Dolio sits pretty much halfway between Santo Domingo and San Pedro. So it's about 20-25 minutes each way to get there. And it's very, very secluded. The highway is like a mile off the road, and you go down a dirt road to get to this hotel. There's five really good restaurants. I've eaten at all of them, and I enjoy it, even the buffet. And it's a nice pool, it's right on the beach. And again, it's all inclusive. We do Part of our program is that everyone in your group does stay at the same hotel, and that's just due to the logistics. It makes it so much easier for the pickups and drop-offs and handling our charter buses. But also, again, goes into that safety factor of we're always traveling in groups. So when everyone's together, everything just moves so much smoother. And I'll hop over real quick again to our website. Right here, if you go to our press box, that's our blog, you'll see where our teams stay. And there's a lot more detailed information than what I'm going through on each one of our hotels. So we have the Emotions and the Wallow, which we talked about. We also have the Corral, the Iberostar, and we're working on a few more options as well. But essentially, like I said, with our teams, it is a fully customizable trip. So it's not a traditional stay to play where you have to stay at one particular property. It's you tell us where you want to stay, we negotiate the rates for you, get you guys a really good deal, and we handle all the logistics behind it. And then moving on to the professional baseball experiences. So, like I said, every single academy or every single team in MLB has a permanent facility on the island. It is actually the only place in the world where there is a permanent facility from each MLB teams. Not even America has that because spring training is not considered permanent, and the Toronto Blue Jays are obviously in Canada. So every single team has an academy on the island, and we're actually starting to see some more leagues pop up on the island as well. So we have, last time we were there, we saw the Toyo Carps facility, which play in the Japanese league, and the Korean league is starting to play some academies there as well. And what's really cool about these Dominican academies is you can see from the flags here, but a lot of these players not only come from the Dominican, but pretty much anywhere from the international draft system or the international player pool system. So you'll see kids from Venezuela, from Panama, from Costa Rica, Curacao. They all come and live at these facilities, and they are strictly for players who are 16 to 18 years old. So they can sign their contract at 15, depending on when their birthday falls. And then once they are 16 years old, they move into these academies full time. And we've highlighted the Dodgers facility right here. They're one of our closest partners, and they're also the oldest standing academy on the island. It started way back in Jackie Robinson days, whenever they weren't allowed to practice in the South and do their spring training in the South. So they started going elsewhere. They've looked at Cuba. They even went to Cuba and Puerto Rico, Costa Rica, and they set up their home in the Dominican. And they were the first club to have a permanent home outside of the United States. And then the community service aspect. We understand, and it's very evident once you're on the island, that we are very fortunate to be able to not only live where we live, but also be able to afford to go to a place like the Dominican Republic. And so it's very important to us that we always give back every single trip. It's pretty much the only non-negotiable we have on these custom trips is every trip you're going to do some sort of community service project. So we have fixing up some fields. We have youth clinics, gear drives, visiting an orphanage like this one here, and just doing everything we can to leave the island better than we found it. Not only because we believe very strongly that it's the right thing to do and we have the opportunity to, but there is a selfish reason as well. It also plays into the safety factor. So whenever you're in the Dominican and talking to the Dominican, there's kind of three buckets of people that are you're not supposed to mess with and you don't get messed with. It's tourists, baseball players, and missionaries. And obviously, we fit into the first two, being tourists and baseball players, but also doing the service work, even though we are not affiliated with a church or religious group, doing that service work puts us into that missionary category as well. And so we hit all three major buckets of, don't mess with these guys. And so even though it is considered very safe overall, and the crime rate in the Dominican when it comes to tourists is actually lower than most US major cities, we still make plans like this and do this to make sure we're taking every step possible to make it a safe trip for everybody. And moving right along to the safety, um, we talked about a lot of this, but we have the airport pickups. We try to group you as much as we can with everybody flying in. So if you're with the full team, more than likely you're flying on the same one or two flights. That makes it a lot easier. Whenever you're traveling as an individual, playing on one of our teams, we do try to match up the flights as best we can so that you're not traveling alone with your family. But even if you are, we do have private transportation that we arrange for you. And so we'll have staff meet you at the airport, make sure to get you into the right vehicle. And the drivers who we've worked with, one of our trusted partners, will get you to the resort where another staffer or a hotel employee will be right there to greet you guys and get you guys taken care of. We do have experienced bilingual staff as well. Like I said, my partner has been going to the Dominican since 2016. I've been going since 2019, and we have built a network of local staffers that we really trust. Some of them live in the Dominican full time. Some of them are missionaries that spend most of their time or part time there. And so we just have a large network of people that we trust that we do a lot of vetting on to make sure they're the right people with us. We have everything organized and scheduled with you guys. We have an app coming out very soon as well that we're building that lists everything from almost to the minute itinerary of what we have planned and give you guys all the updates so you guys know exactly what's happening, when it's happening, where you're supposed to be. And it just makes everything so much easier and give you guys that peace of mind. And then something else that we really want to highlight is that the parents travel with the players. So it is part of our program that at least one parent or guardian travels with each player on the trip. And more family members are definitely welcome to come and encouraged to come. Anyone who goes on this trip is going to get value of it, whether you're playing or not. But the parents are staying with the players. So you guys get a family room, or it depends on the size of your family, two family rooms, but you guys are with them the entire time. Anytime we go off the resort, you guys are with the players as well. At least one parent is going to be with the players. And so the kids are never traveling alone. There is going to be times where we'd run like a 6 a.m. beach workout, and I don't expect many parents to show up there. But that will be still on the resort grounds. We're definitely not going to take anybody off the resort grounds without their parents and guardians being there with them. And then some of the frequently asked questions that we haven't covered, but I just wanted to go over real quick. One of the big ones we get is the food and water safety. So the food, especially with at the resorts or anything we cater in, very safe. The water, not so much. So there's a lot of bottled water at the resorts. You can get their filtered water, and we encourage everyone to bring, these massive water bottles with them when they travel. And we'll have water, like bottled water in the vans and the cars, and make sure that you guys have plenty of water and you don't have to drink from the tap system. Can individuals register? The answer is yes. We have two different types of events that we run with Passport. One is the full team option, where if you're a coach or a organization owner, you can sign up your whole team and we run the custom trip for you. And we do have some individual options as well. These dates are more static just because we have kids from all over the country, sometimes even elsewhere as well. We're talking to a catcher from the Netherlands right now to try to get him to our Thanksgiving trip. And we're talking with a couple kids and a couple clubs in Canada as well. So you're going to get a good mix. But we have two dates currently for the individuals. If you're 13 or 14, you can join us for our Thanksgiving trip, which is almost sold out. Or we're taking more kids, more age groups in February. So that's February 15th through 20th, right over President's Day. And we're taking one team per age group for that one. So that's a little bigger trip. Can we bring additional travelers? The answer is yes. We would love for you guys to bring additional travelers. Again, we have a lot of community service, and it's not unheard of as well that whenever the players are doing community service, the parents and additional travelers are moved to help in and do anything they can as well. So it's pretty cool whenever you see, a group of 50 to 100 people all pulling together and doing some community service just because they see what's going on and they want to be a part of it. And so, any travelers you bring to the island, they will get value out of it as well. They'll be a part of the memory making experience. And so, we really do encourage additional travelers to join you. What airport do we fly into? So there's two major airports currently in the Dominican Republic. There's Santo Domingo and there's Punta Cana. Santo Domingo is the one we encourage everyone to fly into the most. They are the ones that are closest to the resorts that we typically stay at. And every major airline except Southwest currently flies into Santo Domingo, and then every airline flies into Punta Cana. If you were to fly into Punta Cana and go to, let's say, Juan Dolio, it's about 2.5, maybe 3 hour drive, depending on traffic whenever you do it. And so we do encourage everybody just flying to Santo Domingo. It makes everything so much easier. Both airports are nice and clean, and I felt safe. I've flown into both, in and out of both airports. How far out should we register for this? This one is a lot harder to answer. The best answer is the sooner you're able to, the better. One, because it just helps with your logistics, planning the time off, the budgeting, fundraising if you have to do that, and it helps us get better rates at these resorts. So the longer runway we have to negotiate rates for you guys, the more cost effective the trip is. We have some teams we're talking to right now that want to do November of this year, 2026. And it is a little more expensive than if they were to do, June of next year, just because we have much more runway. But I would also encourage you, as soon as you make the decision that you want to go for one of our trips, just to start the process and get going on registering and starting to pay. Are payment plans available? We do have payment plans available, and something we're very proud of is that it doesn't cost more money to do the payment plan. So the cost per traveler is going to be the same whether you do it in 4 equal installments or if you pay in full upfront. And so we're trying to share the island with as much people as possible, and so we don't want to tack on, extra fees if we don't have to. Another one is travel insurance. We highly, highly suggest you get travel insurance through a third party. Somebody like an Allianz, who I'm sure with the World Cup going on, you've seen a ton of commercials for, because I have. They're one of the global leaders in travel insurance and event insurance. So we highly suggest after you book your trip, you contact someone like an Allianz and you get travel insurance. Because with us going on an international trip like this, pretty much everything you pay goes straight to whatever we have to pay. And so our refund policy is pretty strict for that reason. We don't just hold all of this money that you're giving us. It goes out to the local community to secure the hotels, the charter buses, the uniforms, all of that. So getting travel insurance is just another protection you have if something were to happen. And then the last one we get is the average price per trip. And it varies greatly depending on really three main factors: what time of year you travel, how long you stay, and which resort you stay at. For instance, the high travel areas in the Dominican Republic are like spring break, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. If you were to go over one of those three dates, it's going to be a little more expensive per person than if you went in June or July or August, whenever kids start to go back to school and the travel just gets less. But on average, if you were going to stay at a 4 star for 6 nights, you're looking at probably between $1,600 and $1,700 a person. And that'll cover everything once you're on the island. So it covers everything except your flights to and from the island, but the airport transfers, the all-inclusive lodging, the coaches we're bringing in, the uniforms, all the game fees, the community service, it covers everything. So it really is an all-inclusive trip with that price. And as a thank you guys for joining this webinar and being a part of it, we are offering you guys a discount. So if you scan that QR code, or if you just go to our website, if you happen to be on your phone right now and you start planning your trip, whether you're an individual or a team, you will get $100 off per traveler to any of the events that we have upcoming. So we have our Thanksgiving for both teams and individuals. And then our next individual trip is February, like we talked about. And most of our teams are using this custom team date. Um, and so they pick the week that works for them, whether they're going to some other World Series one week or doing whatever. They tell us when they want to travel. We put it together for you guys. So I would encourage you to start planning now, so that we can get this all taken care of and squared away and have you guys enjoy the island with us. And again, thank you. And this is actually going to our homepage as well. So you can scan this QR code. You can look at our website. You can see all the information we have on there. I go into a lot more detail on the website than I did here just for time. And I'm always available for questions. So that's my personal cell number. You can text me right now. You can call me. You can send me an email. We're here to help you guys out. This is the only thing we do is take teams to the Dominican. So happy to talk about it anytime you guys want to. And then if you do have more questions as well and you want something a little more formal, you can also book a call with me. It'll block off time on my calendar to make sure that I can give you guys, my full attention and I'm not pulled into another meeting or something like that whenever you call. And so feel free to scan that QR code as well. It'll go to my calendar page to where you can book a call and we can talk in more detail with any questions you have. And so, Trent, did any questions come up? And now would be a good time as well to ask some questions in the chat
Right.
if you guys want to.
Yeah, I think you covered a lot, so not a lot of questions, but I'll just add that, even if there's not if you're an individual and you're looking for a date, we get a lot of individual inquiries of players who, hey, do you have anything for, May of next year? We have a lot of those inquiries, so we can certainly put together custom trips, not just for teams, but perhaps for individual players that are looking to go at a certain time.
Yep.
So just use our contact, just our generic contact form for that, or get a hold of Brennan or shoot him an email, and we can make sure that we get you on our list for specific dates. Um, Other questions that came through and like registration and in the chat is if we have a few minutes, Brennan, to maybe
Mhm.
hit a couple of those. But we touched on games and playing against the academies, but maybe touch on a little bit of the training that could be a possibility with some of the coaches and instructors from the Dominican academies.
Yep, yeah, absolutely. So pretty much every trip that we take, we run at least one joint practice, most of the time two or three joint practices with those academies that we're going to play against. And so we'll get there, early and we'll have that Dominican Academy run the practice for you guys. And so they're able to show you exactly, all the conditioning that they do with their players, how they run their normal day to day, their normal practice, take BP with them. And it is truly a joint practice with them. And then we're able to play against them as well. And even our beach workouts, we take those directly from the Dominicans. We're not making those up, in our heads. It's the beach workouts that we've seen and been a part of and have run and that we, share with you guys. And so a lot of the experience as well is not only playing against the academies, but practicing with them and training with them and understanding their way of training and their practice schedule.
Another question, ensuring each player gets meaningful playing time. How is that managed?
Yep. So I'm speaking for the individual trips only, because if it was a full team trip, that is completely up to the coach
Mhm.
of that team. So on the individual trips, we do cap the rosters. We're not going to take, 25 kids um, on one team. So we do cap the rosters to make sure everyone gets playing time. And we typically do a rolling order. Through all of our games. And so even though you're subbing out, for defensively, you're gonna have a rolling batting order. So we'll set the lineup for day one and just keep that order pretty much the entire trip to make sure you guys get the same amount of at bats. If you are obviously a pitcher only, um, you might see less playing time because your arm can only take so much. Same thing with catchers. Sometimes it's hot and humid out there, so we also make sure that you guys aren't overheating, being worked too much. If you're able to go out in the field and play other positions, we'll definitely put you there. If not, we'll keep you in the bench in the shade, and you guys still get your at bats. So we do balance that playing time with the safety component as well.
You touched a little bit on the app that we're building, but the question is, and it ties into this a little bit, but what sort of preparation or communication do we provide for families, coaches, teams leading up to a trip?
Yep. So arguably too much communication. We are in constant contact with the coaches. All the parents have my information as well, which I come from the U.S. tournament world, and that is unheard of, where the parents do not contact the event director under any circumstance. It's held directly through the coach. But any parent is able to reach out and talk to me as well. And we will, anybody that's on your roster or that is registered, they will get periodic updates with any updates that we have from let's say one of our refund policy dates is coming up. We might send a reminder out saying, hey, if you guys need to back out, if you back out by this date, it's this. If you wait a week, it might be this. Um, and then just any updates that we have for you. And we make sure that we get your flight information as well. We ask you guys as we get closer, has anything changed? Has the airline changed your flight or anything like that. So we are in constant communication beforehand and definitely on the island. We're also staying at your resort with you. So it's not like we're off somewhere else. So we're always accessible. And then the communication will move through our app as well to where we can push out alerts very quickly once we're on the island with you guys.
Um, Another question, how can coaches integrate what they and their players learn in the Dominican when they return to their home program? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it starts with taking, just detailed notes, whether it's mentally or on paper, and start understanding what they're doing. Most of these coaches at these academies are bilingual as well. And if not, one of our bilingual staff can help translate and help you guys out so you can communicate directly with them. And once you just learn all the different drills that they do and the understanding of how they do things, like for instance, their conditioning is a lot more intense on the youth level than it is for most of the US teams. So you'll be able to see that and understand that. And then it's up to you to, integrate that once you get back and start to really understand not only what they're doing, but why they're doing it and how it's produced results down the road for them.
And lastly, unless we see some questions come through, what are the moments on the trip that you feel tend to be the most impactful for kids? What are kind of the changing moments within players that they get from experiencing baseball in the DR?
Yep. Maybe surprisingly, maybe not. It's the biggest change that I see is during the community service part. So actively giving back to the communities and like for instance, if we fix up a field and then after we fix it up, we run a youth clinic on that field for all those local kids. It is such an amazing experience. And you see a lot of these kids. It's just so much fun. It's really hard for me to put into words. Seeing, just the joy on everyone's face, from the locals to the kids that we bring down in these families, and being able to have meaningful interaction with these players as well, whether they're switching teams for a couple innings or just hanging out after the game, talking to each other, or talking on, second base after you steal second base and you're talking to their shortstop that speaks English. Like it is all those little moments of interacting with the community, whether you're on the field or off the field, that really makes a difference and stands out.
I think that wraps it up.
Awesome. So yeah, so you guys, thank you again for attending and for sitting through this. If you do have any questions at all, please feel free to scan one of those QR codes or give me a call, send me a text, email, or just go to our website as well. And more than happy to talk and get you guys down to the island with us going forward. All right, thank you guys.
Good one.